Who really cares about trendy or timeless design? Interior designers can make you think that it's important to pick a timeless design feature, like white cabinets or marble countertops. Or infuse the latest trends into your kitchen, like Zillige tiles or marble countertops. But let's be real, you don't really care about that. I don't? No, you don't. What you care about is having a kitchen that performs well and is designed to suit your exact needs. A kitchen that functions. So in this video, I want to outline some simple steps to ensure that your kitchen is designed with a function-first approach. Because whether it's white or blue hardly makes a difference. If your choices go out of style, it won't matter anyways because of this little psychological trick that your brain plays on you called buyer's bias, where you rationalize expensive purchases. So if you're wondering if blue cabinets will go out of style, they will. But don't worry about it because you will rationalize with yourself that it was a good decision anyways. What you cannot rationalize is a poor functioning kitchen. That leads to buyer's remorse, and we want to avoid this as much as possible. The great thing about designing a kitchen for function and not aesthetics is that you get to the root of what makes a kitchen enjoyable to use for you, the homeowner. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to ignore trends or timeless choices. I think a kitchen should be designed to include both those aspects. However, you can make a poorly functional kitchen look really great. Post it to Instagram, have people comment on it, on how timeless or trendy or how wonderful it looks. But little good that does you when you can't make a sheet of cookies for your grandkids without getting on a step stool or crouching down into a base cabinet or having to clear 300 things off your countertop first. So if you can make any kitchen look good, why not make it functional beforehand? Now, the best way to approach the function of your kitchen and the first step to take in this journey is to look at how you specifically use your current kitchen. There will be aspects that you hate about your kitchen. You won't have trouble writing these down. The lack of storage or clutter on countertops. But there may be aspects of your kitchen that you really love. Your kitchen drawer next to your oven or maybe your kitchen island. And you may not have realized it, but your old kitchen does have some good points. And there may be areas that you put up with because you're not sure if there's a better way to do it, such as a microwave placement or a corner cabinet. You'll know these areas because you often say things like, well, I make it work, or I'm just used to it. Make a list of these things because they're going to give you the guidance you need for your new layout. When I meet clients for one-on-one calls, it's always great when they have these ideas already floating around. They know what they love, they know what they hate about their kitchens. They're often less confused than they think about the direction that they should go in with the renovation. Kitchen planning can be overwhelming, so if you do need help with that, click the link in the description below to connect with me for a personal one-on-one consultation. The next step is drawing a layout, which is my favorite part because you get to play around with ideas. Sometimes this can be challenging depending on the size of the space or maybe certain constraints like walls, windows, doors, or other objects. But if you've done step one, you'll already be in a better position than probably most other people trying to do this. Whether you're doing this step yourself, have hired a designer, or are getting a free design at a place like Home Depot, I always encourage people to make sure they get some design options. I think 3 is great. Any more than 5 can be a little bit overwhelming. A design option is a basic layout idea. It's not specific, meaning here's where the fridge goes. Next to it will be a cabinet. I'm not sure the exact type of cabinet at this point, just that there will be something there and I want it to be however wide. The next design option will have the fridge somewhere else and maybe the range in that previous spot. Hopefully you get the idea. You're moving things around and seeing what works and what doesn't. Free design tools like the one on cabinets.com are great for this. This allows you to see options for your layout that you may not have considered. It's been my experience that cream of the crop will rise to the top and the best layout will shine above the rest. And I'll tell you how you'll know this in the next step, but for now it's important to explore ideas. You'd be surprised at what you'll discover by doing this step. So be sure to ask your designer to show you different options. As a designer myself, going on 2.5 decades, I can look at a kitchen and tell you with a pretty high degree of certainty how it should be designed, what you should and shouldn't do, how it's going to work, how it should be laid out. However, I always explore different layout ideas because every space is different and every client is different. So if I do this after designing thousands of kitchens, you should too. Now, I promised I'd show you how to tell when you've landed on the best design. This next step in designing a functional kitchen is to look at your design under 5 different lenses or layers: accessibility, efficiency, capacity, workflow, and lighting. Now, I've identified these 5 layers to be the most essential when designing for function. They're not in any order of importance except for lighting. That one should be last. I think they're all equally important, but we'll start with accessibility. Can you access 75% of everything in your kitchen without the need to crouch down or get on the floor or get up on a stool? If so, your kitchen is pretty accessible without any help. You would determine this by using an elevation drawing of your kitchen as a guide. This helps you visualize where things are going to be stored and accessed from. Realistically, knee height to eye level or the bottom shelf of a wall cabinet is normally the sweet spot. You'll want to prioritize this area and make it as functional as possible. Store the things that you use daily in these areas. Now, there will always be areas in your kitchen that are harder to reach or less accessible. Some of these areas, like above your fridge or your corner cabinet, can be dealt with easily, and other areas like the top shelf of your wall cabinet might be a little more challenging. So aim for around 75% of easy access, and you should be doing pretty good. Next is efficiency. Basically, how easy is the kitchen to use? Does the design have you traveling all over the kitchen to do simple tasks, or even complicated ones? Again, I use 75% as a good number to shoot for. 75% of a task should be able to be completed while standing in one area or within a step. This means you need to plan where everything will be stored in your new design. Again, using an elevation drawing along with a floor plan, map out to the best of your ability where you will store the things that you use. Where are the spices, the pots, the pans, the gadgets, the cutlery, the cutting boards, the plates, the bowls, the small appliances? You get the idea. Map out your kitchen so that there are no surprises on move-in day. Or a few surprises. There always will be surprises. And since kitchen zones overlap, making a kitchen efficient is less difficult than it sounds. Now, you'll need to look at your kitchen under the lens of capacity. Can you store the things you need to store? Basically, do you have enough storage space? Every kitchen, in my opinion, should have a dedicated pantry cabinet. It doesn't have to be massive, but if you can fit something into your kitchen, try to do so. It's usually a good idea. Pantry cabinets will store a ton of stuff when designed properly. And this may also mean making the most of the harder to access areas, such as corner cabinets or above a wall oven or fridges and toe kick spaces. These are all deep areas that can potentially store a lot of things. They're just hard to access, so making them usable is usually a good idea. Maybe this is in the form of a pull-out or a pull-down accessory or hideaway stool for reaching. Assess your whole design, looking for ways to make the most of all the available space. And to make this successful, it's also a good idea to take a serious look at what can be tossed and not brought back into the new kitchen. I'd say there's a high chance you could purge a third of your kitchen and never really notice. Now, workflow is the next important layer. This is how the zones of your kitchen flow to create an easy environment to work in. And as mentioned, the zones of your kitchen overlap. The prep, the cooking, the cleaning zones of your kitchen, for instance, are likely all connected. And they should be, but it means you'll have to look at areas of congestion and be sure that you're not designing bottlenecks into your kitchen. Clearance is very important in this layer, so be mindful of how many people are going to be using the kitchen during different tasks and plan for proper clearances around that. Look at the way traffic will flow through your kitchen during prepping a meal, cleaning, dishwasher duty, and when food is coming in from the store or during a party or even a simple morning coffee. This will help determine the optimal placement for particular cabinets, such as drawers or spice storage or trash pullouts. Workflow also has a lot to do with appliance placement. The big 3, range, fridge, and your dishwasher, but also the other important appliances such as wall ovens, microwaves, and the many small appliances that fill our kitchens. And of course, the sink. Appliance placement is sometimes obvious, and sometimes not. So be mindful of door openings, landing areas, and distances between units. The rules for the kitchen triangle are a good starting point when determining where the fridge, the range, and the sink should be in relation to one another. The next thing to look at is lighting. Usually this is the last thing to finalize, as the layout will determine the lighting plan. Now, I have some good content on lighting a kitchen, which I'll link to in the video description. It's worth finding out as much about lighting as you can in order to have a truly functional kitchen. But I'll give you some basics. Under cabinet lighting is the most important light you can install. It provides task light. The kitchen is 90% task, so having this well lit is non-negotiable. I consider island and peninsula pendants as a form of task lighting also. Although they are visual, they will be the main type of fixture that light those spaces. Recessed lights should be used to add lighting to the task surfaces and the general room light. These should always be installed in a way that reduces shadow onto task surfaces and storage areas. Think of it this way: wherever your hands go in a kitchen, light should always go. So toe kick lighting is really cool and all, but it does need to be prioritized as much as a task surface does. Now, once you're satisfied with each of these layers, it's a high likelihood that you'll have a layout that works really well and is highly functional. So now, and only now, should you start seriously making decisions about materials and finishes and styles and colors. Since your kitchen is now functional, you might as well make it look good. Or at least make it look good to you. There will always be someone who disagrees with your choices, and while they might be able to say that your kitchen looks ugly, they sure won't be able to say that it's not functional.